up, guys? Rideshare guy here, and today I've got a video from a reader named Kayleen who asked me on Facebook, why did my Uber fare get put on hold? So here's a comment she left for me. I'll read it for you guys. She was basically having trouble getting paid for one of her big trips. She says, "Hey, Harry, Sunday I took a passenger from LA to Irvine in a pool. The surge was at 2.1x at 58 miles. It took an hour and a half. The total fare was $175. Her payout was $143. And she actually emailed Uber afterwards because it wasn't showing up in her earnings on the app. Now, this has actually never happened to me personally, but it's somewhat common with larger fares. And what Uber calls it is they call it putting a fare on hold. And generally this happens with significant or large fares. And when it is a large fare, one of their special teams has to go in and give it special approval before it gets processed. So honestly, I have no idea what that means, but I suspect that they have to go in, make sure that it's not a case of fraud, or make sure that it was some type of legitimate trip, right? Because Uber does have a lot of problem with chargebacks on credit cards and fraud. So when there are these large fares, they generally go in and manually review them. So that's why you may have seen with any fares, generally it's the ones that are in the $100 to $500 ride, long fares, high surge. That's when they'll go in and do a special review. Now, the problem for drivers, when they do the special review, it won't show up on your earnings. They won't email you, they won't notify you, but it's kind of up to you to just know. If you email them and ask, they'll explain the situation. But what generally happens is that they'll withhold that payment until the next pay statement, and they have time for someone to review it, someone to go over it, give it the stamp of approval, and then they'll release that payment. So if for drivers, it can be kind of frustrating because, hey, in this situation, Kayleen had this huge $140 payout, right? That's even after Uber, it was 180 total. She got it 140. And so that's after Uber's cut. That's a lot of money. And people need that money, right? So for drivers, it can definitely be frustrating. There's not a whole lot you can do in this situation other than kind of pester them, push Uber to really go and review yours a lot quicker. Now, I actually talked to Kayleen about this, and she ended up emailing. She ended up talking to them on social media, sending some emails, right? Doing live chat, right? So all of this stuff. And eventually, she was actually able to get it processed by that first pay statement because she really needed the money to go and buy something. So, or to pay some bills, right? So obviously this sucks, but it doesn't mean you're not going to get paid out on this fare if your fare gets on hold. So, if this does happen to you, that's the first thing you should know. It doesn't mean you're not going to get paid out. It just means that there may be a delay. If you really need it expedited, you're going to have to go and really do a good job of bugging them and telling them, hey, I really need this special fare to be reviewed quickly, and then you can move forward from there. So hopefully if this does happen to you, you guys kind of are aware of the situation now. If you have any other questions for me, feel free to reach out via social media, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you guys. You can always send me an email, harry@therideshareguy.com, and I look forward to seeing more videos out there. All right, take care, guys.